Good morning, parents. Welcome to this series of webinars run by the NeuroLAT team. Where trusted parenting expert offer practical advice on topics that matter to you. And I'm your host for today, Maddie. To start off this morning, we are very privileged to have Dr. Ng Meng Lek, founder of the NeuroLAT program, here with us. And Dr. Ng would like to share about one of his students whom he has been helping with cognitive training for the past 3 years. So Dr. Ng obtained his Ph.D. in educational psychology in the US, and to date, he has trained over 10,000 students, many of them with learning disabilities and unable to perform well in school. So Dex, which Drini will be showing the photo of, is one of these children who have been helped by Dr. Ng. And Dex was diagnosed with autism at 4 years old. He started on the NeuroLAT program at 15 years old. Lily, his mom, reported that in the first 2 years, there was not really very much improvement. However, in the third year, his learning ability started to progress very, very quickly. And he recently learned piano and together with a mom, and both him and his mom, they learned piano together, but Dex was the one who progressed much faster than his mom. He could read musical notes and play on his own very, very quickly. And Dex even took up swimming. He's a very fast learner and has now learned to swim freestyle perfectly. So Lily's mom shared with me that she believes that this is what the NeuroLAT program was meant to do, and it has a way of training the brain. She reports that her son can really think faster now, and he can quickly reverse long strings of numbers, remove numbers, and also perform complex cognitive exercises on the program much faster than she could. Yeah, so Dr. Ng, over to you to share more about Dex and Lily.
Yeah, thank you, Mandy. And I think I'll cut it very short because just now while we are sharing with Dr. Deibby, I think we'll need to give her more time. This is like advertisement, so I'll cut it short. And this child came to me at the age of 15. And after 1 year, there's no result at all. So I always encourage the parents, come back to me if there's no result, you can't see any improvement. So the mother bring the child to me and then I go through the diagnose and check. And I discover that his physical still not ready to get training. So just like a computer, if the hardware is not ready or the old hardware, you cannot download the new software now because the speed of working is too slow, the memory is too little. So then I advise the parents, why don't you just continue to try on the physical parts? That is the eyes exercise. So if you want to know more about the eyes exercise, go to the consultant. Then they will explain to you whether your child any other issue. I think the eyes exercise play very important parts. So go and learn the eyes exercise. And the child only can turn the eyes from 9 to 3 o'clock. And then he will not able to turn 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He will turn 9 to 3 and then go back to 9. So he cannot go downwards. So the problem in his evaluation, problem solving, analyzing, all this area he is very weak. So he couldn't have any improvement. So the mother complained in the classroom, when he think of something funny, he just laugh. Well, laugh is not wrong, but in the wrong time and wrong place, then is wrong. So the teacher was so angry, why you always laugh in the classroom? But then he explained, he said, I think of something funny, so I laugh. So there is evaluation, problem solving skill is low. He didn't evaluate, this is not the right time to laugh. So I think that part is because it's physical having problem. So I advise him to do exercise and clearing the heavy metal. So after 1 year, and then they come back again, then we re-evaluate, do the diagnose again. And recently, then I heard about this improvement. So I just know that he has some improvement. And just now I was sharing with Debbie. So Debbie have this area that solving the physical parts. And I was so excited. In fact, I'm planning giving talk in second week of July, talk about self-confidence. I told her, no, this is important, but not urgent and important. I think urgent and important is your message. So hopefully, if she is free, really looking forward to learn from her. She's a specialist. I'm not. I just know about training cognitive, and she's the brain and physical. He's a medical doctor, so she may able to tell us more. So parents, I hope you are excited as me to learn from her. Yeah, pass over to you, Mandy.
Yep. So our guest for today is Dr. Deibby Mamahit. She's an autism and brain health consultant who has 4 kids of her own. And when 2 of her kids were very young, they were diagnosed with autism. And she will be sharing with us on topic of how you can help your special needs child make friends. Dr. Deibby, thank you very much for being with us.
Hi, Maddie. It's a pleasure to be here. Hi, everyone. Okay, so before I start my presentation today, I would like to share with you about my story and how, as a mom, I basically overcome my situations and how I can help other people. So, enjoy. My life took a different turn when I discovered that 2 of my children had special needs. Noel, my eldest child, lost his language and stopped speaking at 2.5 years old. He had very poor focus and attention. He did not understand special expressions and social cues. He had a lot of struggles in day-to-day situations. Joshua, my second child, had a very severe autism. He did not respond to his name. He did not have eye contact. He did not understand our words or who we were. When we tested him, we found out that his IQ was less than 30. As a mother, I was heartbroken. But this was what made me stronger. I decided to do something about it so they can have the future they deserve. I tried every means I could find. This therapy and that therapy, which doesn't work. I need to do something. Then I went around the world to look for an answer. With the support of my family, I embarked on a journey that spanned over 10 years and 3 continents on how to help them. From countries to countries, from hospitals to clinics to research laboratories. And I found pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, one piece at a time. After traveling to many countries, reading hundreds of studies, and learning from the many experts, I discovered the answer. It wasn't any drug. It is nutrition. Yes, what they take in can change their life around. Nutrition that can put out the fire in the brain, and nutrition that can build back the brain. I am not talking about food, even though they are very, very important. I'm talking about very specific nutrients and supplements. I also found out that drilling method doesn't work. You need understanding and patience. The right kind of attitude can help them with the healing of their brain. Many times, parents are in denial of their children's condition. They might have a lot of fear, embarrassment, or anxiety. With a change of mindset, parents can motivate their children to want to be better. When parents change, children will change. That's how we can help our children to regain their awareness, to give them their speech, to connect them with their loved ones and the world around them. Now my kids are recovering. Now my second son knows who we are. He has memory and he can study. He is able to go places and he is connected. My eldest child is now completely normal.
That's not normal.
He would say, bye-bye, autism. Whether they have autism or not, every child has the potential to achieve great things, and they have the right to try. healing process is not short. It might be long and tedious, but it is rewarding and it is meaningful. I am Dr. Deibby Mamahit, and I'm happy to be your partner in your child's healing journey. So it brings us to this moment where we actually will learn how we can help our children, our special need children. So there are some conditions that hinders our kids. And two of the biggest one that I can think of is social anxiety, and the other one is autism spectrum disorder. And as the saying goes that if you see one child with the spectrum, you only see one child with the spectrum because each child is so different from one another. Okay, now we are going back to anxiety disorder. Now there are studies showing that the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that can detect negative emotions, they are actually having hyperactivity. And the amygdala is actually responsive for something that's called fight or flight response, which is the stress response of a person. And these are actually the brain structures that involves in fear and stress. And the ones that I colored here is actually the area of the prefrontal cortex, this area of the brain. Then this area of the brain is also affected in those with autism spectrum disorder. And what does the prefrontal cortex do? It has the ability in abstract reasoning. It has the ability to do attentional shifting, move from one area to another, response inhibition, processing speed, and emotional control, which is all actually very important in the science of making friends. And now we have understood that actually 35% of social anxiety is hereditary. What about autism? Even though autism is always being coined with genetic condition, 69% of people with autism spectrum has microglial activation or neuroinflammation or inflammation in the brain. I know that the term probably is a little bit difficult, but I will explain them as I explain this further. So now there are so many studies that shows that immune dysfunction plays a role in the etiology or the pathophysiology of autism spectrum disorder. And increase of the cytokines or the inflammatory responses in our body can cause focal brain inflammation. And the focal brain inflammation can lead to autism. So there are so many factors that can cause this. And I think we need another talk to really, really talk about this. I can talk about this like 3 days and 3 nights, and there is no end to this. But there is actually, if we see this graph, you will see that so many factors leads to one thing, which is brain inflammation, and leads to autism. And now there are so many studies linked the low level of vitamin D in mothers. And the mothers that has a lot of stress will have low level of vitamin D. And the children that is born of mothers with low level of vitamin D will have low level of vitamin D, and this can predispose them to inflammation. And the trigger of this predisposition, so there's already many things that stack, it's like Lego, you stack things, and or when you play Jenga, you pull things one after another, and then when another inflammation happen, you pull that Jenga piece that caused the whole block to fall down. So this is what happened with our kids. So what happened is that there is a cascade of immune responses that happen in the body, and this can cause the breach of the blood-brain barrier to the brain, and this can cause inflammation in the brain, and this can cause situations that's called neuroinflammation, the one that I mentioned earlier. And this neuroinflammation can happen even if the inflammation or the infection has passed away, it's already gone. The body was still having inflammation. And now there are studies that shows that even children that is already grown up, they are adult, and then we check the CSF, the fluid in their brain. Actually, what happened is that they still have inflammation, and children that never had any suppression of this inflammation, or the inflammation still continues, will continue showing the impact, the manifestation of autism. So this is another thing that I want to show you. One part of our immune responses in the brain is a microglia. So microglia is a soldier of the brain, is the Pac-Man of the brain. And the Pac-Man not just function for fighting, they also function to do pruning. So they are also the gardener of the brain. And if the gardener is busy fighting, they do not do their job in pruning the brain. So what happened is the brain is unpruned, and we need to bring down the inflammation of the brain so our soldier can return to his job as a gardener. So actually, the knowledge and the science of making friends started from the function of the brain. And we need to know all this previous knowledge in order for us to move forward and help our children making friends. So friendship refers to a special type of peer relationship that involves closeness and trust, mutual affection, companionship and preference, interaction over time, and reciprocity. And the thing is that we need so many of our brain functions to be able to do all these very, very important things. And there is a study by Danber that shows that what is a normal person circle of friends. Usually there's 5 close friends, 15 super family, or they can be non-family members, and even close friends. They can be romantic partners, they can be non-family members. But I mean, there's this level of friends: 5 close friends, 15 super family, 5 clan, and 150 tribes. This is the average numbers. But our children have difficulty from making all these relationships. But there is a new actually data that shows that some autistic kids, even though they are appear withdrawn and solitary, it might be is their choice, but it's not necessarily. Some of them do want to make friends, and they are actually can be very, very good friends. And how we can go about to motivate them and to help them to address their lack of confidence, their lack of understanding in making friends. Okay, so firstly, we need to determine whether our kids are eager to make friends, but they are unable to make the connection. When you are putting them together with other kids, do they look at them? Do they pay attention to what the children are doing? Do you see them tracing them with their eyes? Or they are happy with themselves and not bothered about making friends at all? So we need to see where our role coming in. When they are eager to make friends, then our role as parents is actually to be the role model on how to make friends. And if they're not actually interested in making friends, our role is to make them interested in making friends. So what we see about them being able to have friends or not is really just the tip of the iceberg. As my previous very heavy scientific background of what really happens in their brain, there's so many things that happens in their body that we need to pay attention to. So the health of the brain really actually has a lot to do with the function of the body. So the assimilation process, how the food comes in, the defense and the repair mechanism, which is the microglia is part of that, you know, and all the rest of the other functions of the body has a lot of things to do with the brain. There's so many complications, but I really love this matrix because this matrix really tell us what really happens. The whole body actually is such a complex, very sophisticated things that God created. And then it allows us to have converge into a great function, which is our brain. And all these things actually have 5 modifiable factors. First is sleep and relaxation. Second, exercise and movement. Third is the nutrition and hydration. Fourth is the stress and resilience. And the fifth, which is very, very important, is the relationship. So first, we talk about sleep. And sleep is actually something that us parents have a role to play, and a big role to play. Because, like the dough, you can rise if you rest. I think some of you are bakers. You really truly understand what I mean. Because the thing is that our brain needs the sleep, because the repair process, the detoxification process in the brain happens during sleep. The growth of the damaged neurons also happen when the child has necessary sleep. And I know that a lot of our children, 60% probably of these children have sleeping difficulty. And later on, if we have the chance, I would like to talk more about sleep. Second is the hydration and the nutrition. And it is not very talked about, but do you see how much that your child drinks a day? Because what actually is it's so required, and it's very necessary for them to actually drink enough water, because they can have fatigue, they can have actually don't have enough to go on in their functional parts of the brain if they don't have enough sleep or drink. And the brain needs a lot of nutrition. These are some of the food that are not very good for the brain. And these are actually, unfortunately, are the food that most of our kids with special needs like to eat. These are wheat or gluten, they are fast food, sweet drinks, processed meat, dairy products, sugar, processed carbohydrate, or GMO products. And three of the most evil substance for inflammation are the wheat, dairy products, and sugar. And sugar can be found in every single food that available actually nowadays. And you go to ready-to-made food, a lot of them put sugar as appetizing in that food. Gluten is in bread, in pasta, in pizza, in all the things that the kids like, in noodles. And dairy product, especially, is a biggest misconception, because we are brought to think that children needs milk to be smart or to be healthy. And then now we actually have more and more evidence showing that this can be very, very inflammatory to the brain. So there's a lot of links that shows deficiency of certain nutrition like zinc, magnesium, and other things that vitamin D and iron that link to children disability to focus, pay attention, or even making friends. And other thing that is very, very important for brain function is fat. I know that could be quite revolutionary for some people out there, because we are always being taught to eat lean meat. The thing is that our brain is made of 60% fat. And so I really like this meme, hi fatty, right? Where do you lado? Because it's so full of fat. You know how our brain function, we need enough fat. And even though our brain is only about 22% of body weight, about 20 to 30% of the calories that we consume actually goes there. It comes from fat. So we need to really think of fat and giving our kids the right amount of fat. So extra virgin coconut oil is good. Extra virgin olive oil is wonderful. Omega-3 that comes from fish oil is very, very good for the brain. So we need to also think about exercise, because exercise can help the brain to connect, can help the brain to have enough oxygen, can help to have, actually nowadays I incorporated reflex, and body works in my approach with our kids, because this can help their brain to actually recover faster. And the brain benefits of exercise, it's not just to produce more neurochemical that is very important for the brain function. It improves memory, it has the lengthen of the attention span, boosts decision-making skill, it prompts growth and new nerve cell and blood vessels. It improves multitasking and planning, including making friends. And stress resilience is so important. As I said earlier about amygdala, it's so important that we actually reduce the amount of negative emotion, negative things that happens in their surrounding. So their amygdala does not actually receive this negative perception. And by actually reducing that, you are reducing the chronic stress that is in their brain. And a lot of things can be a response to the stress. One of that is actually schoolworks. And if we actually can identify what are the biggest stress of our kids, then we can help them to manage those stress, talk with their teachers, talk with their school about how much your children actually can take. Then this would be something that is very, very beneficial for them. This is the very important stress response that our body has. This is the cortisol. And the stress actually have very, very important connection with the immune responses. And if we have less inflammation, we are going to have less sickness and depression. And the children that has a healthier brain actually will have more in them to make friends. So this is the I love this very much, because this is the any damage that is caused by the neuroinflammation can reflect on the areas of the brain. And this area of the brain, the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, are one of the two most important areas of the brain that require in making friends. So how do we help our kids manage stress? We need to, if they are within the realm of understanding our conversations, we need to teach them to differentiate things that happens in their life of the things that they can control and the things they cannot control. If they can identify the things that they cannot control, we can teach them to learn to let go of things they cannot control. What are the things that we can control actually? We cannot control other people's behavior. We cannot control whether the person wants to be your friend or not. We cannot control the reaction or the words that coming out of a person. But we can control what our reaction of the things that happens around us. So this slide itself would actually needs like a 1 day seminar or 1 week seminar. Because as an adult, we also have difficulties in recognizing these things. So we as role models of our children, we need to a role model to them how we are reacting to things that we cannot control. Then this will create resilience. Once we understand what things we can control and what things we cannot control, we can exercise our muscle for resilience. And we will be able to have the we can bear when people not wanting to be with us, when people are behaving not the way that we want them to be. Yeah. So I want to say again that as much as I want to explain, there's such little time that I can share. So again, number 5 is this relationship. This is actually the main crux of our today's congregation meeting, because relationship is such a beautiful and a powerful thing, and that is the core of relationship is actually the one that will bring us to friendship. So parents, our biggest role in our child's life is to introduce them what is unconditional love, because this is the thing that will enable them to have the same lesson, same value when they are going to be friend to someone else. So what is unconditional love? For parents, it is having no expectation. It's having no judgment. It does not worry. Wow, does not worry. It's like every one of us worry a lot. I think 60% of a mother's brain is to worry whether the child eats, whether the child sleep, whether the child do things, whether they have making friends, whether they have enough friends, whether they know how to make friends. So let's not worry about it. And conditional love needs nothing. So I like this very much. I like Pooh so much. Piglet asks, how do you spell love? Pooh says, you don't spell it, you feel it. So I want to teach you on how to feel it. The pre-requirement of a relationship is trust. So only when the child feels love, then they will learn to trust. I will teach you now on how you can teach a child how to trust. So this is, I like to call it the exercise of relationship muscle is the ABC. The A is acceptance. We role model to our child that they are accepted fully as they are, regardless of any condition that they have, regardless of any impediment that they have, regardless of their tantrums, regardless of their repetitive behavior, regardless of their asking the same question 10,000 times a day. We need to be able to show them acceptance in order for them to learn to accept the people around them. And B, seek to bond. It's very easy to say seek to bond, or it's very easy to say acceptance. But when our child is not being able to do what we want, is when our child is busy playing Legos or playing games or doing something that we don't like them to do. How do we seek to bond with them? Only when we actually have the first A, then we can go to the B. Because without the acceptance, it's very impossible for us to seek to bond. Because if you do not accept, like for instance, when we are going through courtship, when our husbands or our wives were our friends and they are not even our boyfriend or girlfriend, they need to first accept us. Like for instance, a girl wants to be close with a boy and the boy likes football, and she needs to understand that the boy likes football. She probably need to know who is like the players or what are the configuration of the football game, and probably cheer the football team together with the boy. You know what I mean? And if the boy likes the girl and knows the girl likes shopping, then he probably need to understand that in order for me to be close with this girl, probably I will take her shopping. So the seek to bond is actually the relationship, is the day-to-day action of acceptance. To be able to enjoy the things that the other person enjoy, is to be able to make that a part of our enjoyment. Because when you fake to like something, it's very easy to see. You can detect it hundreds of miles away. They will be able to detect that you are just pretending to be with me. But you really need to enjoy it yourself. That is the seek to bond. And the last one is to celebrate. For every time they show they want to be with us, they show they want to do something that we think has something to do with the step toward relationship, we celebrate them. Not just on the big things, but also for the very, very small things that they do, even just looking at us. Thank you so much for looking at me. I love your eyes. You make me happy when you're looking at me. These are something that we can do and we can celebrate. On which our, maybe I do not know of the people that being here today, Some of you probably have a child that does not even speak. When they say you say, oh, you are making sound. I love it. Thank you so much for the It's a music to my ear. Is it what you want to say? Is it mama? Thank you for saying mama. It's mama, you know? So celebration can come in different form. Or when our child asks the question for 100 times, I think boy is taller than girls. And they repeat the same question again. Mama, why is the girl is taller than boy? And you are going to celebrate them. Thank you for asking. I know that you asked this many times, but I know that you are very curious about it. Celebrate them. So these three things, the acceptance, seek to bond, and celebration, are the things that we do to exercise our relationship muscle. So these are the three tips that help our kids make friends. First, total acceptance and unconditional love. Second, role modeling. And third, the right people whom they can trust. The right people whom they can trust is something that we role model to them. By us role modeling to them that a friend is a person who accepts them. A friend is someone who celebrates them, who enjoys who they are. Then they will find the people that equally good for them. There is someone that we want them to build relationship with. Okay. So again, sleep, hydration and nutrition, physical exercise, stress management, and relationship, they are the way to actually make our brain have less inflammation and the way to help our kids to have relationship.
Love is always the answer.
So this is my eldest son, and he's saying is what I think the basic of everything, love. So I want to give the time and the opportunity for every one of you to ask questions. Thank you so much for the time and the opportunity that is given to me. Okay, so I will pass this now to Maddie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Debbie, for taking time to share these powerful truths with us. And here are actually three things that I learned from her sharing. Number one, it is actually, she shared, this was so powerful. She shared that our biggest role in our children's life is to introduce unconditional love to them. And it is the same value that will help them to make friends. So our role modeling of these things to them, like no expectation, being non-judgmental, not worrying, and needing nothing from them, will help them to express themselves also in the same way. And also number two is the ABCs of exercising the relationship muscle. So A is for acceptance, B is for seeking to bond with them, and C is for celebrating. So celebrate like every time they make small wins. And the last thing is that the five things that can affect our children, their brain health, is number one, sleep. Number two, hydration and nutrition. Number three, physical exercise. Number four, stress management. And number five, relationships. So thank you, Dr. Debbie, for sharing all these with us. It's so powerful, all these truths that you're sharing with us. And also, now for the Q&A, because we have parents who are have been asking questions right from the start. So let's go down the line. Okay, so let's see some parents. Dr. Debbie, are you able to also see the chat box also from the parents? So let's see. So
Okay.
what if your child with autism refuses to drink?
Okay, so you need to make understand that when we are giving child something that they don't like, a lot of times we do it with such trepidation. We are so scared to give something that they don't like. We need to let go of that fear. When we are drinking water, we make sure the water is so nice. Oh, this is the best thing I drink, and make yourself love water so much. And make them think that why my mother is so crazy with water? Why is my dad so crazy with water? Then probably something that I want to try to.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. Yeah, so what if like I have also parents who ask like if their child refuses to eat anything but processed food, so their whole lives they've just been eating like chicken nuggets and anything that's processed, they will take. Anything that is not processed they will not take. So how do we help this mom?
Okay, so this is a very, very good question because a lot of these children really just love all this processed food. And the thing is that some of this processed food contains ingredients that can be very, very addictive. Sugar is addictive because it actually gives serotonin and dopamine in our brain, and our brain craves of that. And the thing is that gluten, which is wheat, can be transformed to glutamorphine in the blood. And as the name morphine is actually very addictive. And casein, which is the dairy, cause something can be transformed to casomorphine in the blood, which is another morphine. So all these things are very, very addictive. How do we to we let go of this food? First, what the kids eat are the things in your house. So you need to let go of those things from your house. If you don't want them to eat it, don't order it. If they want it to eat it, don't stock it in your pantry. So it is something that, I mean, especially I know that pandemic is not something pretty for some people, for many people, but this pandemic actually give us the opportunity to just being with our kids at home and to show them that what is role modeling things from home. Because when you have food in the house that they are not supposed to eat and you eat it in front of them, it's very hard for them to say, I don't, I will stop eating this food. So yeah, things comes from us.
Mm.
Secondly, keep on, even they don't want to eat the fruit or vegetable, keep eating them. Like what I said about water, enjoy them. Oh, this is so yummy. I really love this broccoli. This is the nicest thing I've eaten. This, I mean, for me, I really love fruits and vegetables. And I eat it with gusto in front of my kids. And my kids got, and actually something else that I do, I create these fruits and vegetables as reward. So when they do something wonderful, I say, this is your reward, broccoli. This yummy broccoli is your reward. And how to make my kids like durian, I like durian, is when they do so well, I will take them to eat durian.
Nice, nice. So some of the parents are also asking, right, on top of like their normal foods, right? Is there any supplements that they special needs kids need to take? Because from what they understand is that special needs kids might have gut problems. So
Yes.
on top of the normal like broccoli and
Yeah, the very, very basic nutrition, very important. Magnesium, zinc, and it's very, very important for every one of them. uh, Vitamin D, check your vitamin D level. Most of our kids have very low vitamin D level. Like what I said, the oils, the extra virgin coconut oil, the extra virgin olive oil, the fish oil, they are very, very good for the brain. Um, then there are also very specialized nutrition that I usually prescribe for my patients. Depends on their nutrition needs. So not everyone is the same. So I also give things like nano-curcumin. So curcumin is a very, very important ingredients. You can see it in curry. That's why maybe our friends that are from India, they have very smart brain and they talk a lot. It's from one of them because they have turmeric in their food. Yeah, so this some of the nutrition can be found in day-to-day food. Unfortunately, because of the way the pollution, um, the rain actually contains more aluminum. And when the rain showers the plants, they replace this magnesium and zinc from the plant and replace it with aluminum. So that's the reason why in my previous video, I showed supplements, because even though you eat a lot of fish and fruits, the amount of micronutrition there is contained probably less than how they used to contain in the past. Yeah.
Okay. We do have parents who have problems feeding their children vegetables and fruits because of the sensory perception
Mm.
disorders.
Yeah,
So
so
they
we
don't
need
like
to
certain
figure
smell.
out what is the things that they don't like. Is it the texture? Is it the taste? And we can experiment in our kitchen. So
Mm,
instead of making like a potato frittata, we can actually create a vegetable frittatas. And these
mm,
are some of very indigenous ways actually for us making things acceptable to their palate. If they like pizza, we can have gluten-free pizza made of gluten-free flour, and we can top it up, the toppings with zucchini, with a lot of vegetables that is already cooked and put there. So there are a lot of things that we can do to introduce um, vegetable in our kids' diet in a lot of forms. And other things is that when we want to introduce something to our kids, keep putting it in their plate, making them used to see it in the plate, and you do not have to require them to eat it, but
oh, so
just
even if you don't eat it, it's just keep putting it there.
yeah, just put it there and
Okay.
eat it in front of them. Wow, so yummy! It's very yummy. Would you like to eat it? Once they finish eating, then you can like, oh, since you don't like it, I really love it. I'll eat it. Show
Mm,
to them how eager you are to eat that very food that you put in their plate.
okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. And one parent here actually asked, right, in the section where you manage the how you were talking about how to help our kids manage stress. So you were saying to teach them what I can control and
Mm,
what I cannot control.
mm.
So she's saying here, right, if my child is non-verbal, how do I teach this thing to
Role
them?
modeling.
Mm,
Role modeling.
wow, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So we come back with a lot of stress,
Mm,
right? We have stress from work. We have stress from different source of our life, and how we manage our stress are something that our kids can see all the time. And
mm,
how we actually manage our even conflict in the house is something that is plain to our kids. They can see it, right? How we do it, how we show it to them,
mm,
it's
mm,
something that is so powerful.
mm. I think this mom really shares from her heart when she says this. If my child is nonverbal, she's a teen who obviously has her own opinions, just unable to express herself, and at times do not understand us. Uh, we have been trying to teach her life skills, but it's very difficult to not expect anything from her.
Yeah, so the thing is that not you need to put two things together, not expect something and not believing that they have great future. It's like, what is, isn't it the same? No, it's not the same. Not expecting things is that I just love you without you having to say a single word to me. I love you. I appreciate you, even though you have trouble in expressing yourself. I accept you, even though you smear poop all over the house. You know, this can be very hard, but this is something called without expecting anything, right? In the back of our mind, we all have the hope for our kids. But the hope for our kids should not be what we expect of them at this time being. Because when we expect things now, we are going to fall onto the things that we cannot control.
Mm.
Mm.
That's good. That's good. Somebody was saying that can you elaborate again on the three tips to help our children make friends? You did the first one already, total acceptance and unconditional love. I think you
Yeah.
shared it in the Q&A already just now. And number two, modeling. Also, you also shared that role modeling.
So
Uh,
the
yes.
third one is actually showing the kids um, the right kind of people, right? Who are the right kind of people? The right kind of people who are the people who has the right intention for them. Because we don't want them, after learning to be unconditionally loving people, they end up with people who does not unconditionally love them back, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So we need to have the right kind of people to also uh, have the relationship that we want. Because the relationship that we want is not the 150 acquaintances. The relationship we want is the very close relationship, the ones that actually will determine whether we are going to have a good, long lasting, mutual respect, connection, and trust.
Mm. Yeah, cool, cool. So there's one parent who asked an interesting question. He says that if we as parents accept them questioning repeatedly the same thing over and over again, wouldn't it be a problem? Like, will they do the same thing to other people? Like, as in, because it's my role
No.
modeling,
Okay.
right?
So this is what happened. Our kid's brain is inflamed, and some of the inflammation can actually lead to damage in the neurons of our brain. So actually, it's in a way, it's something that is already a biological condition. And our kids, actually, a lot of them are so smart. They know how to overcome this damage. It's by doing something to that is makes themselves predictable. By asking the same question over and over again, they are making it predictable for them.
Mm,
And predictability is less stressful.
wow. So it's a coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism. If we stop them from doing the coping mechanism, where are they going to do it? Actually, I have a very, very amazing client that came to me yesterday. The child, actually, the mom came to me saying that I come to you because I cannot stand my child keep asking me question over and over again. And I cannot stand him keep on doing the repetitive movement. So I have to explain that this asking mechanism and repetitive movement is something that they do to cope with the inflammation. Can you imagine if you have sore throat, you can, it's very hard for you to swallow something. If you have pneumonia, if you have inflammation in your lung, you can hardly breathe. What happens if you have inflammation in your brain?
Wow.
There are so much things that happens to them. How their processing happens with the inflammation. Things might, the things that they see, the things that they hear, the things that they feel, very, very different because their central processing center is not working well because of the inflammation.
Wow.
So
I never
now
saw
they
that in
have a
that way.
way to do it. How now they have the way to cope. Please help them cope. Actually, the
Wow.
child, why I say the child is extraordinary. The child actually asked the mom this, Mom, I just really need to say this one more time. It's a plea. Help me cope. Help me let go of my own discomfort.
Wow.
Mm.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, so this is the mechanism for them to help themselves. Please do not stop it.
Mm.
And actually, amazingly, in some studies, it shows that if you allow them to do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again and over again and over again, they will have less and less of this.
Mm. What about, we have heard of parents who are very shocked and very worried when the kid with autism smashes, hits his head with his hand or hits against the wall,
Oh,
because then it causes
okay, there are
injury.
two things that we need to determine when they started hitting themselves. First, the inflammation can cause pain. Yeah, as much as our throat hurts us when we have sore throat, our brain hurts when it has inflammation. And some of these kids, how they counteract the pain is by creating other pain that can suppress
Okay.
that pain.
Like self-mutilation. It's sort of like a self-mutilation
In a
for,
way,
for
yeah,
mainstream kids, yeah.
in a way, yes. So
So what
that's
can
what
they
I
do?
do in my
Yeah.
practice. I help support children so that they have no longer have the pain by giving them
Ah,
enough nutrition. So please come and and seek help if they're your
Okay.
kids in this first category. The
Mm,
second category is something that's called button pushing. Some of these kids require so much acceptance and love, but they do not have it. And when they hurt themselves, the parents start to, don't do that, don't do that. And this is what they want. They want you to take care of them. They want you to just love them. And this is a cry for help. This is a method of communication. So if in the second category, please take care of them. Please spend more time with them. Please
mm,
um, address their emotional needs.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
So they were also asking, is there a medical test to confirm that there's inflammation in the brain?
Yes, there are now a lot of tests that can be used to check inflammation in the brain. Unfortunately, we don't have it in Singapore. There's some labs in US that can check the inflammation in the brain. Um, in my practice, in my center, we have something that also can predict what happens in the brain. Can can check whether there's any asymmetries in the parts of the brain that actually can refer to inflammation as well.
Mm.
So yeah, there are ways to do it.
So if the inflammation goes away, this mom is asking, will the repetitive movement and questioning also go away?
Okay, so some of these kids, because of this is a very, very good question. Some of these kids, because of this chronic inflammation, can you imagine chronic inflammation? Um, Parts of the brain actually turns damage. Okay, so there are two ways to help them. First is regeneration, so neurogenesis. Second is neuroplasticity. The ones that Dr. Ng is doing with his good work is something called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is training the brain to do something that is, or even when the brain is not working at its um, optimal state, we can train the brain to reach something better. Neurogenesis is basically regrow that areas of the brain. So that's what I do. By having a special nutrition, we can actually regrow the areas of the brain that has damage. But just bringing down the inflammation alone is huge. It's huge. And just by doing the 5 things that I teach you today, this morning, is huge. So a lot of the children actually do not need additional to what these 5 things.
Okay. So some questions are being asked is like the extra virgin coconut oil has saturated fats. Will it be harmful for my child?
No, it does. It's not. It has something called medium triglyceride chain triglyceride that actually can really help them to produce more brain ATPs. ATP is the source of the food of the
Mm,
brain. And there are so many misconceptions about triglyceride and saturated oil in our medical science actually. And now there are studies that is conducted in Germany and in Japan that shows people with higher level of triglyceride lives healthier and longer than people who has lower level of triglyceride.
wow,
So
that's good.
yeah, so there's actually this is the science of 10 years from now, because I would say that unfortunately our textbook does not really change much very fast.
Mm, mm. So I think maybe one last question is, does medication like Ritalin help to calm my child down? What are the side effects?
Oh, okay. So Ritalin is something that I try to avoid to use. I would say that any medication that cause any psychotropic medication is something that I try not to use, because as much as it actually has the ability to suppress impulses, but the thing is that it is something that can cause a lot of long-term side effects. So as long as the child uses Ritalin, the child might be able to have more focus, more attention. But the moment you stop doing giving Ritalin, then the child will return to their previous stage. And it is a temporary measure. Really, it's really something that is only doing as long as you are taking. What I aim to do in my center is to help the child to recover, or to support the child. And so when they stop taking any of those nutrition, their body is already have the ability to thrive and to make decisions and to function.
That's good. That's good. So
Mm.
this father is asking that his son is flapping his hands and sometimes have rocking movements to regulate themselves, right? Is it related to inflammation in the brain?
Yeah, definitely. Because
Mm.
that part of the brain, that is the somatosensory part of the brain and the parietal part of the brain, if they are affected, what happens is that the body will have a lot of issues with the motor and the parietal areas, which is the somatosensory areas. And if that areas are inflamed, then the kids will have issues to, so they need that movement to actually help them connect or focus, or just cope with their inflammation.
Mm. So a parent is also asking, right, how do I find out about leaky gut? And also, is leaky gut connected to uh,
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So just now I bypassed the leaky gut, but actually the, the inflammation in the brain comes from where? From our gut. Our gut is actually made of very, very tight junctions, right? And the thing is that when we have inflammation, the tight junction got loose. And that's called the leaky gut, because before it was very, very tight, nothing can go through it. Now it's loose, and then things can go through it. So things that should not go in, things that should go in does not go in. So the nutrition that we want doesn't go in, the things that we don't want actually goes in, and it goes into the bloodstream and cause more inflammation. And that inflammation, that the the cytokines is already produced in the bloodstream because of the invaders that goes in through the leaky gut, will turn into cytokines that will pass through the blood-brain barriers into our brain.
mm. So that's very interesting. We have many parents asking, Dr. Debbie, how they can meet up with you and how they can see you.
Okay, so I have um, Instagram, I have Facebook under my name. You can go and Google it, go and follow it. There's a lot of things that then this QR code actually leads to my website. You can go in, and it will be connected to you. And also, if you want to, I will send a WhatsApp number here that it will link to my assistant if you want to have a consultation with me. I think it will be very useful.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So another question from a parent is, if a child has, or rather a youth has a habit of keep checking his things over and over again, or staring at things again and again, is it okay?
Well, again, it's a mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. Children with a frontal lobe can, affection, they will have OCD. They will have the need to keep on checking things over and over and over again. What we can do is to accept this condition
Mm,
and help them with the 5 things, because the 5 things that I explained earlier is very powerful to bring down inflammation. And
mm,
when their inflammation comes down, then their need to cope less, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's good. So actually, doing the 5 things will help them to bring down inflammation,
yeah,
and then these kind of like regulating actions can also slowly decrease.
yeah.
Mm. So for someone who's asking for leaky gut syndrome, do you recommend probiotics?
Okay. So probiotic has its use, but not for everyone, because a lot of times the gut is so inflamed. If you put in more strain of probiotic of microorganism in, it can cause more issues like more inflammation. So we actually need to have a lot of priming to the gut before we can introduce probiotic. So probiotic is has a place, but not in the initial stage.
Mm, mm. I'm not sure this is very scientific. Is it possible to consume long-term anti-inflammatory if the main issue is systemic inflammation?
Oh, okay. It's a very, very good question. But what kind of anti-inflammatory? Okay, so I do not want to put our kids in medi- uh, the medications like the current NSAID, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, or the steroidal anti-inflammatory. No, because they have huge side effects, and it's really, I would say, not worth the the effort, because it can cause so much more other issues that can vicious cycle back into inflammation again. What I use is nutrition. Nutrition can be, some of the nutrition like curcumin can be very good for anti-inflammatory. So I also have an array of things that can bring down inflammation, but unfortunately it's not available in uh, in food form. But things like curcumin is available, so please make use of it.
Mm. We have a parent who's asking if their child is hyperactive and have learning disabilities. Is this child considered special needs?
Well, every one of us has our own special needs. So I when we are having stress, we need to spend time alone and process the things that we are going through. This is our needs. Yeah.
Mm.
When some people, we spin pen when we are thinking or walking back and forth, all this actually is a way to um, cope with something that is going through our body or our brain. This is also a need. So it really depends on you, it's just linguistic use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every one of us, including myself, is special needs.
Mm. I think this is a very good question this parent is asking. She's saying that her son prefers to talk to adults because adults have a better acceptance and understanding compared to children. So, how do we find other children who are willing to talk to somebody that maybe they cannot relate to?
Okay, so I love this question because it's true. Children are the most unpredictable being. One moment they will cry, and the another moment they will laugh, and then the next moment they will jump out. It's very unpredictable. For children with brain inflammation, this unpredictability can be quite threatening. And adult is more predictable because adult have somewhat regulate themselves. Yeah. And the question is how we can give them the interest to other kids. Is it the question?
Yes. So, how to get them to relate to other children? Because this child prefers to talk to adults because the adults will show very much acceptance and
Is
compassion.
there a need for the child to communicate with other kids? The first important thing that we need to know, what is the priority? The priority is the child to have a good role modeling, a good model or prototype for them to relate to other people. Let them communicate with adult first. Give them the prototype. When they have enough prototype, then it will make it easier for them to later on connect with other kids. I want to share you my own story. As a child, I was ostracized. In primary school, I remember being alone most of the time. Not because I do not want to make friends. It's just because my interests and my likings and the things that I want to do is somewhat not something that is popular. And there was even a time when I got bullied a lot because children who are loners tend to get bullied more than kids who are popular. So I also just started to really make friends when I was in high school. Yeah, so there is something that when I look back, I feel like, wow, it's actually telling me that it's all right to have friends later on. You don't have to have it now. But at least you need to have the know-how. You need to have the prototype. You need to have the confidence. You need to also have the feeling that you are wanted, that you are loved. So all these things are accumulative, and parents can give you the environment of these needs, and fulfilling these needs that will enable our child to later on put these together to make
Mm.
friends.
Actually, Dr. Debbie, I like what you shared with us the last time. You mentioned about how when you were trying to get your child to understand social behaviors, you actually broke it down into very, very small parts for them. Like, why do I greet the neighbor next door? But when I go to the supermarket, I don't just greet everybody there.
Yeah. So it's so important that we are after we give them enough of this role modeling and prototypes. What we do is that we go out with them to different spaces, to with our friend, to our to different space, and explain to them what is give them the chance to observe and and take turn to actually explain to them on all the all the bits of details, like see, when we are in the supermarket, we don't really talk to other people. We don't really just say that. We can probably say something, but we don't really talk like the way I am when I'm meeting my friends. So parents' role again is irreplaceable, super important in our child's ability to build their social abilities.
Mm, that's really good. So there's a question here about Ritalin. So actually, Dr. Debbie answered that just now already. So we will maybe send you the link after this event is over. So another question is, must all children who are special needs be put in special schools, or can we enroll them in a mainstream school?
Okay, this is a very is $1 million question, because all the parents in Singapore or in Malaysia or in areas whereby academics is so important will ask me this question. We need to understand something. When our children has special requirements, special needs, we need to think of what do they need. If they go to a classroom of 39 people or 40 people, 30 people, and the teacher has 1 hour of lesson or 2 hours of lesson to impart to 40 students, do you think that your child will be benefiting from this situation, or your child will be benefited from a classroom of 5 students? So I would like to have, many parents are so scared to let their kids go to special needs school because of the stigma. But what is stigma? Stigma is something that only applicable if we actually internalize it and put and believe it ourselves. If we do not take it as a part of our constitution, we can actually say that I don't mind for people to say that my child is different, because I know by doing this, my child's need will have better addressed than being in a school and just doing what other people doing, and the child being left alone I mean, tell you frankly, in 2 hours lesson of 40 students, how many minutes that your child will have a total 100% attention of your teacher? Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, one question is also asking, is there a difference between extra virgin coconut oil or just coconut oil?
Yeah, it's very different. One is cooked, the other one is not. The extra virgin coconut oil is not cooked, and it actually preserves a lot of the nutrition that is needed for our kids.
Ah,
Mm.
okay. Okay, is cordyceps helpful for the brain?
Yeah, cordyceps is one of very good nutrition to increase ATP, which is the body's fuel, and it can be very helpful. Mm. But
Okay.
yeah, but I don't really give it because it's something that the moms actually can put on as a mix in the dining table.
As a mix, as in it's mixed into the
Yeah, it's
food.
mixed into their food or into like the soup that they drink and things like that.
Okay, so because for the soup, usually we don't eat the cordyceps. Do we need to eat the cordyceps or
It just
be
be in the soup. Yeah.
in the soup? Okay, okay, that's good. That's good. So for the parent who's asking about the link and all that, yeah, we can actually, you can reach out to us. Junie sent to you. Yeah, so we will send you the link. Okay, so my teenage son is angry with a close friend who felt he had betrayed him. He will talk to us about this issue repeatedly every day. How do I get him to forget about this friend and move on?
I think is that we cannot create a barrier for our kids on the world. And the thing is that this will go to the place of accepting the things that we can control and letting go of the things we cannot control. So we need to slowly explain to our children or our child the importance of letting go and role model to them what is the kind of person that they should be having friends with.
Mm.
So we can
So,
be the role model of that person, that the person that your child can trust to have relationship with in the future.
okay, so more to help the child to understand like this is something that we cannot control. We cannot control another person's actions, but
Yes,
we can control our response to the person's actions.
true. Yes, exactly.
Okay. So somebody's asking, how do we eat the extra virgin coconut oil? Is it to just use it to fry our food
No, just drink it.
or just drink it? Like, is it the same as extra
A
virgin?
spoonful a day or 2 spoonful a day.
Is it the same as extra virgin olive
Yeah.
oil?
Olive oil is
Either?
yeah. So for me, what I do is that I sprinkle the oils into the salad. But
Mm,
I mean, for the kids, it probably is harder for them to eat salad than taking the oil.
yeah. So it's like a cod liver oil, that kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is lion's mane mushroom good for brain inflammation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I like lion mane mushroom.
Okay. That's good.
You see, there's so many powerful food in our day-to-day situations in our daily life in the market. Go and introduce this food to our kids.
That's good. I've never heard of this. Is sacha inchi oil okay to take?
Yeah, it's okay to take.
Okay. How about chia seeds? They're asking.
Yeah, it's okay to take. It's very fun.
Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
just it. Yeah, it's very versatile. You can use it for a lot of things, and it
Green,
depends. But
salad.
just remember, don't take it at night.
Oh, why don't take it at night?
Because when you take it at night, then your body will absorb all the water from the chia seed, and then kind of like some people get constipated afterward.
Oh, okay. So maybe Dr. Debbie, can you share a bit more about the omega-3 oils? Like you mentioned that omega-3 fish oils, is there a difference between omega-3 fish oil and the vegan option?
The vegan option also has omega-3, Well, we can use it. It's just that the level and the amount of omega-3 that it's inside is different.
Mm,
So you just need to taper it to your needs.
okay. So, what about omega-9?
Omega-3, 6, 9, they're okay, they're good. Just that omega-3 has a lot more studies. Yeah.
Okay. So a parent is also asking where can she get more information about food for improvement in children with ADHD?
Mm, First thing that you need to do first things first is to get rid of the inflammatory food.
Yeah, which is the gluten,
Yes,
sugar, dairy.
in the
These,
dairy. So if you are successful in doing that, then you can introduce your children to a lot of food with multicolor foods. Actually, food with colors like the green, the yellow, the purple, the red, the all these colors, they are beautiful food. They have a lot of polyphenols that can help our body.
mm.
Mm.
So, which oil is better? Extra virgin coconut oil, flaxseed oil, sacha inchi oil, fish oil, yudo oil? What is a yudo oil?
The ones that I recommend, the extra virgin coconut oil, extra
And
virgin
the
olive
offshore.
oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, one parent asks, like, how do they repair a leaky gut?
Okay, leaky gut repair takes time. So
Mm,
first, in some kids, just by removing the inflammatory food, actually the gut can repair by itself. In some kids, the inflammation is so bad, you really need more help. You come to me.
okay.
Mm.
Okay. So, checking and staring at things a lot due to brain inflammation, right? Does it also cause brain damage?
No. Staring at what?
Like staring
Staring at
at
something?
things long time and
No. Totally not. It won't cause any brain damage. Actually, the staring itself is a way for them, when you want to just uh, detoxify,
like calm
when
down.
you just calm down, when you want to just be be at ease again, you it's not possible to do many things. And some people they need the movement, some people they just need that peace and quiet and probably staring at something. It's
Mm,
okay.
mm, yeah. So this person is also asking this lady, I think she's a mom. She said these inflammatory food seems to be our daily meals like bread and noodles. If I'm not wrong, rice doesn't have gluten, right?
Correct. So actually rice based food, which is what we are having, is okay.
Yeah, yeah, rice-based food lah. Okay. Is there any other like a carbo that doesn't that would recommend that is not there's kind of gluten like potatoes, is it?
Yeah, potato is gluten free, but
Potatoes.
remember a lot of the potatoes they are GMO, so get
Oh,
organic potato.
okay, okay. Um, wow, what's this? Check protocol uses insulin.
Yeah, so let me check protocol is one good way to do to help. So let me check protocol basically is invented by a doctor from US, and it uses oil. It uses the extra virgin olive oil, and it uses something called inulin to help to bring down the inflammation in the gut.
Is
Um,
it better than a probiotic?
I would say yes, it's better than probiotic, but some of the kids are not so suitable with this protocol, and you might want to try the protocol first, and if it works, please go ahead with it. If you have difficulties, then you can come and see me.
Mm. Uh, we can only this parent say we can only reduce the intake of inflammatory food, but we cannot remove them totally, right?
uh, yeah, there are ways to remove all this food, but when our kids go to parties, when they go to our in-laws house, when they go to certain places, we really cannot control, and it's very impossible for us to be like, stop doing it, stop eating it. So I so what I do is that I will that's why it's very important to also have anti-inflammatory food or supplements that can really help them when they have encountered these conditions.
So actually, there's another mom who's saying that to get rid of gluten, right? Is it 100% no gluten because soya sauce and KFC all that, can they still take gluten once in a while, like on weekends, or eliminate completely?
Yeah, eliminate completely. Because
Okay.
if you bring them down into the system again, then it will actually require about 6 months or 8 months to remove all the gluten in our body.
Okay.
So
So
that's the reason why many people, when they started on this gluten-free diet, they'll find that I don't see anything because the gluten's still in the body for 8 months.
mm,
Okay, and it takes shorter time, 2 to 3
mm.
months.
So then they're also asking like is are your children also on the gluten-free diet? Are
Okay,
they
my second son is still on gluten-free, casein-free diet. My elder son goes to school. In school, he bought things that he wants.
okay? You cannot control that,
So
right?
you can't control it. I let go of that.
Okay. Yeah. So okay. What about eggs? Somebody's asking eggs, is
Egg
it
is
okay?
okay. So you need to see there are precursors of inflammation that we can check, IgE or IgG in for our kids. Some kids they have allergy, so the IgE for the egg is positive. So we want to avoid eggs for these children who has allergies. But
Allergies.
for IgG spike for eggs after about 3 months of not taking eggs, you can actually reintroduce eggs into the body. So it really depends on each individuals. So, but you can actually make food diary, create food diary what your child eats today, and after that you can create an observation list of
Mm,
the things that they eat and what it causes them. So you have instead of checking their blood, you can actually check your list and your observation, what things that might exacerbate certain behavior on your child.
mm. Oh, is it okay for ADHD kids to take oats?
Yeah, it's okay. Oats is
Yeah.
gluten free.
Okay. So dairy meaning cheese and milk,
And
cultured milk
yogurt.
also, and yogurt cultured milk.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So noodles cannot because noodles is gluten.
But you can
Uh,
take bihun and kway teow.
rice
Yeah.
flour, moon and kway. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a parent is also asking, I've removed the gluten for many years when my child was very young and non-verbal.
Yeah.
But as she grows older, she didn't have much to eat and very limited food varieties. She only takes the
There
three
exists so
meals.
much food varieties,
Mm,
even with the gluten free and casein free. I mean, all the vegetables they are gluten free, casein free.
vegetables and
Rice
fruit
based food,
like bihun, kway
so
rice.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
rendang is gluten free. All
Mm,
this very yummy food, you know.
oh, yes.
Yeah,
Good.
fried chicken is
Yeah,
still gluten free.
yeah. Is soy sauce, MSG, and ketchup gluten free?
No, so we need to make our own. So
Oh,
there is a replacement for ketchup. Actually, for me, in my house, we make our own ketchup.
oh.
It's yummy too.
Mm,
But if you have like only tomato puree and
yeah,
you mix it with extra virgin
olive oil.
with olive oil, and then you can mix it with apple cider vinegar and monk fruit extract. It can be a ketchup too, you know.
Mm,
And yes, and for soy sauce, we can change it with tamari,
mm, mm,
and and we can still follow the recipes, just we change some of the ingredients. There are a
okay.
lot of myriad ways, fun ways, innovative ways to make food is fun and yummy and exciting without all these ingredients.
Mm. So it looks like a lot of parents have a lot of questions about nutrition and food. So maybe next time we need to invite Dr. Debbie to come to talk about food and nutrition, because there's so many types
Yeah.
of food that's available in our supermarkets nowadays. And
Probably we can have a cooking class.
yeah, it's really like a minefield for us, nowadays. Yeah, so parents, if you've not been able to ask your questions, or if you're keen to find out more about BrainWorks, a health center that Dr. Debbie founded to help parents and children learn about autism, you can click on the link below. I think Junie can send it to you, here, right? And direct your questions to Dr. Debbie. So BrainWorks provide neurophysiological testing, comprehensive examinations to support your kids who need it. So if you have any questions that have not been answered, right, we hope to be able to help you with that. And if you would like to find out more about the NeuroLAT program that Dr. Debbie's kids are on, 3 of them are on, to find out more, you can scan this QR code or click on the Google link in the chat box, and you can leave your particulars, and our consultants will connect with you as soon as they can. So if you want to, also the link to this talk, also, you can click on that link that we will send you. And for this upcoming webinar, parents who are able to join us next Saturday, Anna will be sharing with us on the topic of how to raise resilient kids. So if you're able to join us, do find out more information about this from the consultant who invited you to this talk, from your friends. Okay. So this is the Google link to send out to scan, if you want the link to this sharing also. So so once again, we want to thank Dr. Debbie for joining us today. She's an autism and brain health consultant, and she has 4 kids of her own. When 2 of her kids were very young, they were diagnosed with autism. So that's why this has led Dr. Debbie down the rabbit hole of finding out for herself autism information, support therapies, and more. So we hope to see Dr. Debbie again soon to share with us more on nutrition, and also really you wanted her to share more also about like how to help to prepare more nutritious food for our children at home. Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Debbie. Anything else you might want to add?
I would just say that children needs most of all needs that they have, they need love. And children who are in family who have lots of joy and happiness, they thrive better. So I want you to express. I know that you love your child so much, but we are being Asian. We have a very limited exercise to express our love. Express your love more to one another. In this way, we will role model them not just on how to make friends, but also will impart them so much positivity. Because when you are being positive and happy, your body actually produces its own anti-inflammation. And it's very powerful. So be happy.